if anybody, while we're getting going, if anybody wants to chat and join in without raising their hand or participating, but let's keep the call like super casual, especially since it's not too big.
I have a quick question. How long is it?
So usually I like to keep the call. We try to keep it about 30, 35 minutes. And then if we have time, some Q&A.
Okay.
All right.
Jeannie Green in the house from Boston. Woo! Newest Crystal manager.
I'm so Shayna also. Shayna and I have a heart, one of my heart lines as well. Love. All right. So tonight, thank you everyone so much for joining. I cannot tell you how special this call is for me. Ellen was somebody that I met before I knew that I had a team, Laura Hernandez, but before I even really knew that I had somebody to speak to or team, or I didn't even understand what team was. Somebody, I don't know how, I think I heard you on a podcast, whatever it was, somehow my heart connected to you. And I reached out, I think personally, and just texted and messaged you, and you're like, let's talk. And I remember you just coming to an in-house meeting on Zoom with like 3 people. And literally this woman, I call her, and I think I said this to Zyla, is my shining light. When it comes to, she is the one that represented one team to me. We have no financial connection. She not only opened her heart and her arms, but her team as well. And that to me is when I started to really understand what this was all about. And it was Ellen, and I still go to her. She is one of my mentors, one of my heart lines, someone that has absolutely shown me what this opportunity is about and the people that I hope to attract. So Ellen, wow. I love you.
I think that was one of the best introductions anybody's ever given me. My heart is so full. Okay, call's over. No, I'm just kidding. I just love you. I love you so much, and you're such an amazing leader, and I'm always humbled to be asked to train with leaders that are as great as you. I'm providing value, right? But
yeah. But
it's always nice to get
different perspectives. You have to tell everybody who doesn't know you that you don't shine from the inside, but people notice you, and that is why all these awards were given to you. So Ellen was one of the founders, or started when Isagenix really started. She is the 27th millionaire, and she started Isagenix when we didn't have all these tools, when we didn't have all these Zooms, when we didn't have all this stuff, and yet she still absolutely thrived. She was outstanding woman of Isagenix. She was top trainer. She was, I'm going to have to look because there's so many. Women of the Year, Diamond Team Builder, Spirit of Isagenix Award, which is absolutely everything, exactly what she is, as is Laura St. John. Top Millionaire in Action. She's on the Field Advisory Board. And I have to say one of my favorites, because I have met her lovely husband, Paul, is Couple of the Year in 2012. So that, and she is 9-star, am I right? Am I saying it right? 9-star.
What am I? 11.
What am I?
Yes.
9-star Golden Circle, 11-star Crystal Executive. So what that means is,
it means I'm buying lunch if you come to my home.
Which means, you know what it means? It means, I'll tell you what it means, and we'll get more deep into this conversation, but it means that she leads with integrity. It means that she leads a team and shows them a direction. She gives them a map. She leads with love and with her whole heart, and doesn't just enroll people and move on. This woman has these awards for a reason, and I love her for everything of it. So that's her. I want to give you a brief story, and then I will start with the questions, if you don't mind sharing our story.
I'm hearing a little bit of that Atlanta twang, and it's making me
that's so funny. Everyone thinks I'm from New York. I'll take it.
So cute. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful introduction. And let's get into the meat. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. Let's get into training, because I love to change lives. I can't wait.
All right. So tell me a little bit quickly of your story. Just give us a little background, how you started, because you are what I call my Hollywood girl. She is lived in California and LA, comes literally from the heart of Hollywood, actress and all. Her husband was a soap opera hottie. So give us a little bit background of how you ended up where you are today.
So is there anybody on the call that has not heard my story? Because I certainly don't want to bore you with
I know that my team has not. I know Zyla has not.
Zyla. And what about Mercy? Mercy knows my story. She's going to echo me. And there's Jenny. She doesn't know my story. Okay, so let's keep my story short. The reason why my story, let me tell you why my story is important. It's not so much my story. It's how does my story help you to believe what's possible for yourself? So I want to share parts of my story that I think will help you build belief and understand that no matter where you come from and what you do, that everything that I have achieved is also possible for you if you want the same thing. And no matter what your goals are, big or smaller, it doesn't matter. You know, Isagenix as a company have products that work. They have a compensation that delivers the same to everyone. It's an equal playing field. So what is it about me and how did I get where I got to? And what informed that journey that really gave me the drive and the desire to achieve? I think that's what's important. Don't you, Melissa?
I 100%. That story allows you to connect with everyone else. Yes.
So can anybody relate to, like, I would never in a million, thousand, 100 billion years think that I'd be sitting here on a Zoom call. I didn't even send a text ever before this. I didn't do any technology before Isagenix. Now, I would never think I'd be sitting here in a business career called network marketing. Is there anybody else that can relate? Like, if you were to look at a glass ball and look at years ahead, you wouldn't really be sitting here. Laura St. John, I know for sure you would not be here. Well, my whole life was dedicated to honing my craft as an actress. From the time I was 7 until the time I was 30, I was in class studying personal development, psychology, acting, theater, voiceover, commercials, radio, television, film, all of it, and I loved it. And I really thought that my give back to the world was going to be through my art. And that's why I never predicted this journey as being as rewarding and fulfilling and on the path that I thought I was going, right? So for a long story short, I had my first child who's like, you know, the apple of my eye in 99, my daughter who's now 18. And I had my second child in 2002. And I mention this because they're really the center of my universe. They are the reason I do everything. We're a very child-centered family, very strong family values. That is my number one priority. And when my daughter was born, I knew that as actors, it was feast or famine. When it was good, it was very, very good. When it was bad, it was very, very bad. And when I had my daughter, I had a different sense of responsibility. I wanted to create for her a life that was better than the yo-yo of the feast or famine. But I didn't know what I was going to do. And we were sort of like, I was recurring on a soap. My husband was on a soap. But believe me, the money wasn't so good on the soap operas. It was enough to get by, but not enough to raise a kid in LA, and certainly not enough to buy a house. And then the show gets canceled, and then you're stuck with the house, and you can't pay the note. When my son was born 3 years later, I was given the gift of Isagenix, but I didn't know anything about network marketing. And I was given the gift by a gentleman named Dr. John Gray, who writes the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus books. And he said, listen, there's this company forming, and they are 10 years ahead of what we understand about important nutrition. They understand that cleansing is a lifestyle, it's a cellular flush, and it's going to be necessary as an intermittent fasting as we evolve as a planet. You're going to need it to stay alive. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, the side benefit is weight loss. Give it to your husband. He got fluffy while you had the baby because he didn't have it and I did. So his partner, Renee, said, listen, if you tell people, you'll make millions. And I forgot to tell you, she was like the Hollywood psychic and my friend. So I didn't know about the business. I started using the products. I told everybody about it. I got very popular because everybody was like, the Happy Shake, get me more. But I wasn't making money. I was like giving it away out of my account. Kathy Coover called me, the founder of our company, for those of you that are new. And she was like, listen, you're moving a lot of product. We want to talk to you. We have a really big mission to change the world. And I said, I'm unlisted. I'm uninterested. I'm unemployable. Please don't call me again. And that really happened. Ron Reed, my upline, called me, the same thing. I'm like, please don't call me. Anyway, where the story took a shift and a paradigm shift is when in 2004, 2 years later, my son started to bruise. He was diagnosed with a life-threatening blood disease. Ironically, coincidentally, or maybe there's no coincidences if you believe what I believe, his body stopped functioning. The cell lines, they shut off. The factory was down, ultimately because it became confused and bombarded by so many toxins. Nothing was wrong. It was a simple autoimmune response to our toxic environment. And I was like, wow, there must be something to this cleansing. And that's when I started to realize there's no accidents at all. And it was a long journey. It was a tough journey. And I was left with close to $1 million debt. And I knew I wanted to get on my feet. And coming out of that, I was reborn, evangelical, going to live every day like my last, going to cherish every minute, going to do what I deserve and what I want and what I dream of, and figure out how to get it paid for now. It was really that clear. And there was no going back. And I love that new vision that came out of that situation, because there are so many people today that are suffering, that forgot how to dream, that never did dream. And I'm a stand for somebody that has done it from zero to where I am. And where I am today may not be somebody else's dream, but it was my little dream. I'm so fulfilled. I said to my husband, you know, sometimes I feel bad. I'm not in Puerto Rico on the cruise with my team right now. I'm not here. I'm not there. I'm not over in Malaysia or UK every minute with my friends and teammates. And everybody, we have such a travel bug in our company, and everybody's always all over the globe. And I am one of those people that I pick and choose my trips. And I'm really, really happy to be home, because I created the life I dreamed of. And I'm so happy in the moment that I'm not searching for anything outside of exactly where I am. And how successful is that if you can be there? Like for me, it's all about that. So I invite you tonight to learn more about what this is, how I did it. But that's the why. I wanted to get back on my feet. I wanted to live my dreams. I wanted to give back to my community, the world, my family. I mean, every single dream came into play. And I'm telling you what, there's no end. Everybody's like, 16 years later, you're still here. But when do your dreams end? And this is like a freaking lottery ticket. You think I'm going to walk away and try to do something else? Why would I ever? I get to work with all of my friends, all of you glorious people, help those of you that want help, or celebrate with those of you that are doing better than me. I get to learn from Shayna, from you, from Laura, from everybody on this call teaches me. Really, we're such a community of so many learned people and so many talents and so many gifts. I just love it here. This is my family. There you go. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Did that hit on what you wanted me to hit on?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has, you know what it tells me? It tells me that no matter what, you have to understand everyone has a story. Everyone has a story, and it's important to know what it is. All right, so here we go. You ready, Ellen? No, I'm just kidding. So, you are such an amazing leader. You are such a wonderful mom that does have a child-centered family, which honestly is one of the most difficult things for me. You are an amazing wife. I want to know, and we all want to know, how do you balance it all? How do you wear so many hats?
Oh, this is like an 8-hour talk. So you want me just to answer a little
briefly, because I got more, baby.
So can I get a little airy-fairy on you? I know Jenny will appreciate it. And I know she'll shake her head, okay? I stretch time. So it's going to be very difficult for me to teach you what I do, because it's really a mindset. And it has to do with compartmentalizing. It has to do with planning ahead. But it really begins with, can I do it all? As soon as you invite the idea that you can do it all, and you stop looking at time in a linear fashion, it is amazing what happens. It's that old story of, if you burn yourself on a hot stove, you feel like you've been holding your hand on that stove for like 10 hours, even if it's been a minute. And then they say if a guy is sitting on the lap of a pretty woman, even if it's 10 hours, it feels like 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
So everything is perception. And I've just learned how to play with time, because I like to live in a lot of other crazy realms. That's the real deal. And I can get into that, and I can break it down, and we could do a talk on quantum physics. But why don't I bring it down to the physical plane, since most of us are living there. And I know you're like, okay, Ellen, what are you talking about? First thing I'm going to say is, every night before I go to bed, I put together my plan for the next day. And on it, I always leave blank space. So when miracles appear in my life, I have time to invite them in. I don't believe that anybody should be so overscheduled that when something magical appears in the day, they just can't fit it in. So I always make sure I can move things around, and I don't do electronic calendars because I don't want anybody else to control my life. I'm going to determine my priorities. I'm going to make changes that I see need fit. And I'm always going to have blank space so that I can invite in the miracles. Like Jenny the other night came over to my house. It wasn't planned with a lot of time, but because I made the blank space, I'm like, oh, Jenny's a priority. I want to make that happen after my yoga class. And bam, they were here. So the night before, you have to plan. You know, we run it like a production company. So we look at the needs of every member of my family, first personal, right? So where does my son have to be? What time is school? What time are activities? My husband, my son, when my daughter lived here, she's now at Duke. So we start with our personal and put everything and dump it. And then I look at, okay, around the needs of my family, where are the areas where I can schedule calls? And where am I going to be scheduling calls for follow-up, for new prospects, for three-way calls, for leadership trainings. So my day is filled with an abundant amount of activities that serve isogenics, but I also have 2 hours a day dedicated to myself for spiritual growth, which involves ecstatic breathwork, meditation, and yoga daily. So I start my day really early. I really believe the early bird gets the worm. And Shayna's laughing because when Shayna sleeps over, she doesn't just leave my bedroom and my upstairs floor. She'll go downstairs as far away because she doesn't want to hear the music blasting at 5 a.m. and she doesn't want to hear me screaming out my affirmations. She really crashed one night in my bed, and in the middle of the night, she got out, and I'm like, where did Shayna go? She went home. And then I'm like, where's Miss Shayna? And I can't find her. She's in my house. I'm like, what's the matter? Why'd you leave? I was asleep. Was I screaming out in the middle of the night? She's like, no, you just wake up too damn early and with way too much energy. So anyway, I get up at 5. Sometimes I even get up at 4:30, and I get so much done between 5 and 8. And I love that time of day because nobody's typically bugging me, although a lot of people that are onto it, they start calling me at that hour because they know they're going to get undivided attention. So I make time for my family, myself, and my business. I write it all out. I leave a lot of open space, and I get to bed early to recharge and replenish. I really don't like to be talking to people or doing too much after 9 o'clock. I shut it down. I do my reading, and I have rhythms of the day that really support getting a lot done. So in the day, I have so much light splashing through my house. It energizes me along with the great products I'm putting in my body. And then as the sun sets, the lighting goes into my home that supports really beautiful lighting at night that helps to calm everybody that comes into the space. So I'm working with all aspects of self. I'm working with mind, body, spirit. I'm doing physical activities. I'm doing planning the night before. I'm taking care of myself. I'm getting up early. I'm leaving blank space. And then I'm magically stretching time.
Love it. Thank you.
Did you get any of that, or do you think I'm really crazy?
And then you know what I got, okay, so the next call I have with her, I need to schedule about how to do that.
Oh yeah, time management. It's a biggie for most people because most people are letting their lives run them. Right. And it's sad. I mean, right now I've got 30 new cleansers, all right now cleansing together. And I have people that got the package. They won't even get on a call for 10 minutes for a personal coach like me or somebody else to help them out. I'm like, gosh, you've invested $600 and you can't even take 10 minutes for yourself so that we can make your cleanse experience easier. And I'm always amazed that most people, they're just not in a position to know how to prioritize or make themselves important.
Right. Agreed. I'm probably one in that category sometimes.
Well, Miss Phillip, we're going to have to change that. Okay.
I know, we're going to change that, but let's continue so we can give these people some great info. Being a team leader, like I said, you always coach and grow with integrity and love. And everyone that's on your team, I see it. How do you continue to grow in a way and attract those kind of people? Because I know you're like me. You qualify your people and you qualify your team. So can you take us through that?
Yeah, I have something I've never shared before because it just happened. So you're going to be the first with this information, and I'm going to do some serious trainings on this. So I'm going to be honest. I've been a sponsor monster. I love the process of sponsoring people. I love proving them wrong. I love opening their mind. I love making miracles happen. I really do. So it makes me a sponsor monster. What does that mean? It means on average for 16 years, I've sponsored 15 people a month. If you do the math, that's way too many people. That's a lot of work. And I got tired and I've ended up hospitalized from exhaustion, and I did it all the wrong way, but I never did this before and I didn't really have the map. So I went through some changes at the end of the year, and I knew I really wanted to 10x my business financially. And I was always known as the Mother Teresa that would lift up people no matter who they were. I would oftentimes spend time with folks that really didn't deserve my time, meaning that I would show up bigger for them than they would show up for themselves. So in December, I said, you know what? I'm going to join this place called Wanderlust, and I'm going to really embark on this series, 2 hours of meditation a day. Do you know Wanderlust?
I don't, but I know we have a team. We have someone on our team. I think she was on the call. Carrie, who just did Wanderlust, like a day, yoga day. Yeah, but festival. And I hadn't heard of it until she told me about it. Yeah.
This is like the only physical facility. It's an on-the-road traveling thing. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to go not only on a social media fast. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, what happened was I wanted to start playing around with Instagram because I usually recruit millennials. And I decided that I would hire a team and I would commit to two posts a day and going full out with Instagram last year, August to December. And I came up with a lot as a result of that journey. I learned what's working. I learned what isn't working. I learned what I like and what I don't like. And I realized that my life was becoming one big post. And I was missing out on the joy. And I was not in the moment because everything was for something else. It was to serve, but I was being robbed in my present moments. And that's when I was like, social media fast, recruiting fast. Recruiting fast, what? So I brought in only one person, actually two people, between January and March. And that for me was like suicide. Like, honestly, it felt like I was like, I have to do this. I have to honor that I'm ready to align myself truly with people that want what I want, people that I want to grow deep friendships with, people that I'm going to learn from that actually might be bigger and better than me. And it happened. I have some extraordinary new leaders now that I'm so excited about. And although I didn't recruit monthly, I have now recruited more in 2 weeks as a result of the team I'm building than I've done in 3 months. That would have been equivalent to 45 people.
Right.
Now I have like over 10 new amazing leaders, and Jenny is one of those. And
we always say we'd rather have 1 and 2 amazing leaders as opposed to 100 people that we're dragging.
So what's the lesson in this for you from the initial question? If you're in the beginning of your journey, you really want to practice and bring in everybody, because even the people that don't deserve your time are going to teach you so much about boundaries. They're going to teach you so much about what you don't want. You learn from pain as much as you learn from pleasure. So in the beginning, we want to create cash flow. We want to make you comfortable if you're not really doing well financially. So you maybe don't have that wiggle room to have that posture of, I'm only going to recruit what I deserve, because in the beginning, you kind of don't even know what you deserve. You're going to start realizing what it feels like to take advantage of. And you're going to have those wall-kicking moments, and you're going to be like, left turn here. Don't want that energy. A lot of people embark with such a heart of service. They just want to save the world in such a way where they start to attract everybody in a diseased state. And then what happens, it's like the most difficult thing, right? Because you start to realize that these people have to want to change. Disease can be present in mental, physical, spiritual. It doesn't have to just be that they're sick physically. And what happens is you start to realize, well, I can help some people like that I choose to help. But my goodness, if my business is made up of emotionally toxic people and I think I can save everybody, I'm going to be so miserable and used up by the end of the day. So what I teach people is, don't tear your heart out. Keep your heart there, but determine how many people are going to be your charity cases. What I mean by that is you're going to be giving a lot more to them than they're immediately going to be giving back to you. And you can't afford to make your entire business and team charity. So you have to recruit up, and you have to be working with people that are giving back what you're giving them while you're focused a little bit on the side for those who just want to help that aren't really contributing to the growth of your business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so.
So these are lessons that take very, very long to learn. They may not resonate with you now, but these are lessons that are very real, and I was in it. I didn't like start out like, got it, I deserve this, this is what I'm attracting. And I mean, in my 16th year in December, I was like changing this whole thing up on my face, just changing it all around.
So you felt like you definitely changed your attractor factor within your growth.
100%, and I'm not going back because I'm having so much fun.
Right. Awesome.
100%. Yeah.
Now, can we get into, especially for those that have trouble in a new prospecting, how do you generate the excitement? How do you bring in those, like you said, that are going to give you that energy, build that relationship when you are prospecting? Those kind of, just how are you doing?
Sure. Well, first, I think we've got Brigitte in the house. I was just talking about her. Brigitte, one of my great new leaders. I love her. Okay, so how do I create excitement? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, how are you prospecting? How are you prospecting? How are you drawing in people besides your amazing personality? You would draw in anybody, but who don't know you, to prospect them, to that you know that this is the kind of person you meet and you want to bring them on. How are you doing that?
Well, the truth is, start your day with an e-shot on an empty stomach. And I'm not kidding you, because my team knows it makes me dance. And today, this morning, I don't even know what hour of the day it is, because all our realities are happening at the same time. This morning, quite early, I did a sunrise hike, and I was seriously dancing on the mountaintop. People were looking at me like I was out of my mind. I was by myself with my big old beats, and some people were looking at me, and they looked at me, and they just smiled. And other people looked at me like I was crazy, and other people looked at me like they were threatened and disgusted. And I started realizing, wow, all I'm doing is being happy. So when you shine your light, you give other people the permission to do the same. So the first thing you have to recognize when you're going out in the world, your vibe attracts your tribe. And whether you're doing this by default or you're doing this by deliberate art of creation, you're always telegraphing to the world who you are, what you want through your energy. So you not only want to take 100% responsibility for what's going on, you want to take ultimate responsibility. So what's ultimate responsibility? Responsibility that every action has a reaction as a ripple does in an ocean for the entire planet. And if you come from that posture and you understand how to own your energy and the power of it, and you turn it up, whether it starts with an e-shot or a dance, you will attract other people that want to be positive or that are positive. And I really believe that when your emotional state is in check, that's the beginning of a beautiful place of recruiting. And now we can get into where, how, and what, whether it's at Starbucks, whether it's at the laundromat, whether it's in line at the bank, or whether it's on social media. I have a curiosity about people. Not every conversation leads to isogenics. I don't want it to. Sometimes I'll be in a conversation with somebody, I'm like, oh, not my person. We're good. Have a nice day, sir. But sometimes they'll reveal themselves and I'll be like, oh, like for example, I was at the farmer's market, my favorite place to be, on Sunday. And there's a booth that sells a detox made of coconut elixirs and cane sugar. And this sweet boy, Matthew, was there. And he was manning the booth and he was talking to people, and my son came up and was like, hey, can I try some of that? And he went on and on and on about the fact that sugar cane is low glycemic and all about this cleanse and da-da-da-da. Well, he didn't know who else was in the booth with him. So I was like, so Matthew, you're into cleansing? He's like, yep. And I'm like, that happens to be my business. He's like, really? I'm like, you really sound like you know what you're talking about. And you know what? It's very interesting. This is a real conversation. And I said, you're making me wonder why my company, and this is your company, so you can substitute, as I'm saying you say yours, right? We all own our company. So I was saying, it makes me wonder why in my company we're using fructose from organic beets, but we're not using cane sugar because it tastes so dang good. I never knew that cane sugar was a low glycemic sugar. So we're having this talk. Right? And I said, you know what? We're a $5 billion. Now I'm starting to tease him. And I'm like, we're a $5 billion company. I think, you know why? I think I know my answer to the question that I was posing. I think the reason why we don't use cane sugar is because there's not enough supply in the world for the amount of demand that our products are required to fill. We have so many people all over the world that want to use our cleanse. He's like, what's your cleanse? I'm like, thought you'd never ask, right? I said, I just want to ask you something. I'll tell you about my cleanse, not now. I think you're amazing. And what I want to know is, do you think you're being compensated fairly for this job, standing here for 5 hours, promoting somebody else's business? Because you're an employee, right? Yes. Trading time for money? Yes. Getting what you deserve? No. And I was like, would you want to talk to me? And he goes, I get the feeling that you do something much, much bigger than the cleanse you're talking about. And I said, oh yeah, I do. I said, I'd love to share more. He's like, okay, I'll text you, text me. Now, I hope sharing that with you gave you a lot of ideas. There's so much in that story. We can break it down, right? I raised curiosity. I dripped about the product. I did a one-upsmanship on what he was doing. I complimented his knowledge and who he is. I gave him hope that there's potentially something better. And I had him fall in love with me as a human that just wanted to know more about me because I had fun.
Love it.
Does that give you something?
Yeah, I mean, because I think so many of us literally are just like, oh my God, how can I get isogenics in there? I just remember I was verbally vomiting over people as opposed to genuinely connecting with them first, no matter how long it took, if we saw each other again or not. It was about building a relationship, and you connected on so many different levels, and it's what needs to be done. It's not. I stopped thinking, how can I get isogenics in there? And I started thinking about how can I build a relationship and connect? And is this someone I want to continue to build a relationship with?
That's exactly what I was talking about before, when you have to be quality control for who you're bringing in, because they are going to become one of your best friends. So Brigitte's very dear friend came to my house. My husband met her at physical therapy. He loved her heart. She was talking about the pain of her hand and how she couldn't hold her young daughter in bed. And my husband, ironically, my daughter was home from school and he had an issue with his arm. And he's like, I totally relate to what you're talking about. And two of them are in physical therapy for their wrist, and they're both tears like streaming down his face. And he's like, I've got to introduce you to my wife. There's something so special about you. So check this out. This woman calls us up and says, we are hosting a very important charity event Saturday night. Why don't you and your wife come as our guest? What she didn't know was we were already going to that charity event representing Jim and Kathy Coover at the Unstoppables, which Isogenics was the sponsor. Now, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah. So I call her up and I'm like, what? And she's like, well, why don't you come to a dinner party Friday night at my house? I said, because I'm having a dinner party at my house Friday night. I said, why don't you bring your party to my party? This was the beginning of a leader that came in that's now grown to 30 people and has made $3,000 in her first 2.5 weeks. And you know what she said to me? I've been using Herbalife. I really don't know anything about you. People have pitched me Isogenics for 10 years. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I'm doing Isogenics because I want to spend time with you. That's why I'm doing it. And I was like, okay, so you don't really want to do the product? I'm like, you're going to love the product. She's on her cleanse day today. She's like, oh, I am all about this. I'm like, really? I thought you just wanted to spend time with me. But I'm showing you the evolution of a mishap and the way things sometimes happen, the irony, the synchronicity, and the formation of a relationship. And now, like I said, she's like already crushed this with like close to $3,000. Like we're on track to do 5,000 first 5 weeks, right? And we're making mistakes and we're learning from each other, and her team is learning with us, and here we are.
So on that note, can I ask you, because I do have many new people on here that has seen the vision ASAP, how are you as a leader, and I have 2 more questions, and I apologize for those that need to go, I know, but I'm not letting Ellen go yet, sorry.
I planned until 6. I planned an hour if you have an hour.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
But how are you as a leader helping them, first of all, to come up with their goals, to understand what goals are and what needs to be done to get to where they want to be? And then also, how are you helping them, if you want to call it rank advance or call it to get to those goals, that number they're looking for or that star they want, whatever it is, can you take us from planning with them, getting to figuring out what goal, helping them choose a goal or get a goal, and through it, like you said, together you're helping them get there, rank advance and get that goal?
Well, I think the first thing is setting a vision for what this could be together. So for the top leader, that's what I did. And I didn't give too much information. I gave just the executive chart. If we could get 10 consultants in the first 5 weeks, we can get you probably to $5,000 financially. But since you don't know what you're doing yet, I'm going to be having to do all the calls with you until you learn. And then when I found out she was super busy with 1 million businesses and such a successful woman, I said, well, I won't be able to run your business for you. But if you bring me a couple of captains, and they're both on the call with us, Jenny Green and Brigitte Berg are both here. And I said, if you could bring me 2 of your most favorite people, people that you would want to bless, people that you believe would benefit from this opportunity, I will train them, and we can divide your leads. Since you are an abundant networker, we will divide your leads, and I will do everything with them as though they are you. And so what we did was we enrolled her husband first, right underneath her, so that on one of the legs we would be actually building 2 positions. So we'd be capturing that. We knew that we wanted to go for Crystal Manager because we had the rapid rewards and we were going to get the double bonuses on Crystal Manager. She came in the day before that. So she started calling a few of her friends. We organized an immediate launch party. The next day we got together at my house with a group of people. So we started doing enrollments and putting together a foundation of product users. We helped everybody understand that if they brought in 2 people, what it would mean to them as a rebate. We clicked the associate button, flipping from a customer account to an associate account the day in which they had somebody to enroll, not a day earlier. We put them all into our Facebook group for social proof and to have information 24/7 to start learning. I did some personal calls with different people. I invited some of them over to my house. I did some one-on-one to get to know the individual leaders like Brigitte, like Jenny. I started to get to know their world, their influence in their world, had them make their lists, tried to find out where their learning curve was going to be. For example, Brigitte is like the most patient, loving, wonderful, amazing rock star. But she said to me flat out, I'm not great on the computer. I need you to hold my hand. So on the other hand, I knew that Jenny was going to be amazing on the computer in 2 seconds. She was running circles around me. So I knew that we could take Jenny's talent on the computer, Brigitte's talent in her patience and open heart and loving and giving soul as a healer. And I started to see where as a team, we were going to be pooling our talents. We were going to be taking referrals from Payment A, the top leader. We were going to be having Brigitte help me with some coaching. We were going to be having Jenny help me with some technology. So we started to identify the talents of the team. And now so excited that Jenny is with us because she's another amazing technological person. And like when Jenny came over, I met her 2 days ago. She just looked straight in my eyes and she goes, I'm going to lead the entire community of Chinese people in Los Angeles. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been waiting for you. And so she doesn't know this, and I'm going to say this on the call just for fun, but I went to her Facebook page. I started looking at who is Jenny in the world? How does she let people know who she is? And I called up Brigitte, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Can I talk to Jenny about this? Is this appropriate? I want to talk to her about her brand and her platform. She's like, yes, just call her. We haven't had a chance to have that call yet. So I started digging in to sort of how she's posting, what she's doing, and now I'm going to try to find out what her priorities are and where she sees herself in 5 years. And I'm going to dig into making Isagenix the perfect vehicle to align with what she wants her message to be. See, a lot of people get into Isagenix and they totally think this is sales. They don't know how to align their personal vision with the vision of Isagenix. And that's huge. And that's what I do with the team. So I gave you a lot of things all over the place, but I think it's pretty cohesive. If you do the playback, I think there's a lot that you can get from my explanation of that.
Okay, awesome. And the very last one, and I'm going to let you answer this while I tell my husband goodbye because he's leaving on a flight, and I'll be right back. But talk and this.
And I can do questions from people that are while you're missing.
Yes, and you can do that. But I need you to talk about, because I always hear you talk about the importance of events, and then we'll do questions. How does that sound? And I know if you have to leave, you have to leave. But the importance
events are everything. I made Brigitte borrow, beg, steal, and figure it out to get to Philly ICU, and I'm so proud of her. And in that moment when she said yes, I knew I had somebody I was really going to be moving forward with. Because when you go to an event, it jumps you ahead 6 months. something happens to you at a cellular level that ups your belief that cannot happen by yourself. Even for my friends that are in LA and spending time in my pool in my home and they feel like I got the vision, I'm just one person. You get into a room of 600 Isagenix people, you're going to be like instantaneously transported to another reality. You're going to hear stories from people of all walks of life. You're going to see people that lost 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds. You're going to have an Olympic athlete and professional baseball player and professional basketball player. Events are everything. They allow you to take a vision that you think is already big and expand it bigger in 2 days than anything. And you come out bulletproof because everything is about belief. Your ability to talk to the guy in line at the bank is based on your relationship with yourself and your belief level of what this is. You can't rush it. You can't push it. You got to be where you are. But when you go to an event, you make friends, you have fun, and you build your belief, and they're so much fun. They really are. So,
and I also feel like that's where you, honestly, yes, I love my team. We work together. But if it wasn't for the people that I have met at events, hello, Shayna, Ellen, Laura, who was in line with me, and we were both in the same place in our journey and latched onto each other. To me, I'll be honest, my growth is literally because of those I've linked arms with.
Yeah, because you might hear the same thing 1,000 times from your team leader. And I'm like, all you guys that work regularly with Felissa, you might be like, okay, I'm not getting it. Now I show up and I actually say the same thing. And you go, oh, why didn't you tell me, Felissa? And Felissa's going, oh, Lord have mercy, what the heck?
Because no one can say it like Ellen, that's why.
No, people that I tell the same thing over don't get it. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I heard Lenny Evans, why didn't you teach me this? And I'm like, what? But it takes the perfect moment, the perfect time. When you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I just get to take the glory. It doesn't mean that I'm more special. And I really mean that. I really mean that. And I know every leader on here knows what I'm talking about.
Agreed. All right. I'm going to open up Q&A because I could keep going forever. I'm just going to have to schedule part 2 of this.
Oh, anytime. I love you guys. Anytime. So, and thank you for allowing my little homies to ride along with us. You get to be my new rock star. They're all going to be on stage. They're all going to be your new best friends. Is anybody going to Philly ICU with Shayna and Brigitte?
No, but Zyla and I are going to University in Action, which will be her first event, and she just, not even 2 months yet, I don't think, right, Zyla? Or just 2 months?
I was talking to Andre Henkart this morning, and I was on top of that mountain, and I said, I just want to call you. I'm on my social media fast. I know your stepfather passed away, and we were just having a heart-to-heart, and I said, you know what I really miss? I really miss the ceremonies that we used to do 16 years ago with Isagenix. And I talked to her about this candle lighting ceremony. She goes, what do you mean? We do that at UIA.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Because I did a UIA a couple of years ago and we didn't do it. So I hope you do the candle lighting ceremony at the end. It's
2 years in a row before that. So this year, I always knew it was there because everyone always told me, but this will be my 3rd or 4th University in Action, and I will just have to be there for that.
So for those of you that are new, we have Isagenix University happening in Philadelphia, where Brigitte and Shannon will be to give you hugs, hold your hand. There's still tickets. Highly recommended. Oh my God, Lisa Mayo, Jim Coover, Kathy Coover. It's an off-the-hook event.
What's the date?
Shayna, when it's at the end of April, right?
Yeah, the 26th to the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
the lineup is ridiculous.
The lineup is crazy. And then after you go to Isagenix University, where they fill your head with like the vision, the blueprint, the understanding, the comp plan, and all the tools and all that, then they say, okay, now that you've got the information, we're going to make you practice like in theater. So UIA, it's like musical chairs. You practice your story and you're always moving and learning and teaching and doing. So ICU is take it in. ICU in action. What's it? University in action. So ICU, you take it in. University in action, you practice it. So it's great, and they're cheap and they're fun. And so you go from one event to another, and you stay plugged in, because as soon as those little monkey in your mind start saying you can't do this, and you're not good, and you'll never amount to anything, and you just got rejected because you didn't shower today, and nobody loves you. Like when that voice starts talking, the events are like, I always say, you need the event or the event needs you. And what do I mean by that? You need the event because you need that positivity. You need to remember who you are, and we remind you who you are. And if you're past that because you're a leader and you already know who you are, then the event needs you because you're going to give that heart and that light to somebody else in the room that needs it. So you need the event or the event needs you. You never outgrow needing to be in an event.
Love it. All right. Anyone have wonderful questions for Ellen now that we have her in front of us?
Who's called in? We can't see their faces. I don't even know.
I know. People have called in.
Metz was going to come on.
We have another member wwho really is lost in. I think that this is her number. Melissa, is that you? 1-678-873?
That's me, yeah.
Yay. So Melissa is on here, and she has lost so much weight, and she is finally seeing the vision and really just wants to educate and learn and has so many questions. And I'm so glad that you were her first real team call that she got to hear. But so everything is really new to her and she's taking it in. So do you have anything, and Zyla here as well? We've lost a lot of people, I know, because of time, but they can always hear the replay because I was not hanging up on this one.
Thank you. And thank you guys. I got my yoga, so I couldn't do it at the 6 o'clock hour because I'm going to be.
No worries.
But anyway.
You said you had a question? I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, so I just signed somebody up, a male in his 40s, wanting to get back to how he used to be, and he's been married a couple times, whatever. And he's just started, and he said that he's done the 2 shakes, snacks, and then a meal, but he's starving. So I was trying to set up a time to call and talk to him. It hasn't happened yet. He's super busy. But I was going to try and shoot him an email because I don't want him to get discouraged, and he already is. And he's in his first week.
Well, I wouldn't send an email. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I can talk to you about that offline, because I think these people are, I just want to focus on but I can tell you right now, there's no way he's getting enough calories by what he's eating.
When you're hungry, you're supposed to eat, and you shouldn't be doing 2 shakes. I do 2 shakes and 2 meals. And don't do an email because you want to create an intimate relationship, and you want him to know how important he is, that he's worth a phone call. Leave him a voicemail.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. But I eat 4 to 5 small meals and 2 shakes, so he is definitely not getting enough calories. But we can talk about that offline. Does that sound good, Melissa?
Perfect.
All right.
But we squeeze in a little training. Don't send an email.
Right.
If you want somebody to know that you care, you better just call. And you better not worry about oh my God, what if I interrupt them? What if I didn't send a text message first to arrange the call? Are you kidding me? When people do that to me, I'm like, I could have talked to you, but that was the moment that I would have been able to speak to you, so you just lost your moment. Why the heck are we not reaching out? It's so bizarre. The way the world is now, it's all these rules and boundaries. Are you calling? If I call you, it means there's an emergency. No, it means that I kind of care for you. Otherwise, I wouldn't take the time to dial your stinking number.
Right.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
I kept bugging Brigitte today, whether she was doing laundry, whether she was picking up her kid. And I know she's probably Ellen's calling me a lot because I call. When I care, I call. I don't care. You just get texts. Be careful. No, I'm kidding. All right. What other questions do we have?
Any questions? Come on.
Really? No. You guys know it all? You got it all. All right. Brigitte? Jenny?
Zyla, come on, Zyla. I know it's in there.
Ellen.
I'm still. Hold on. Zyla was about to speak. Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not even in my first month of sharing, or I'm 3 weeks or something in. And so I've watched lots of these calls. I've watched things from 2 years ago. I'm overloaded, and I hear all of these ideas. This one says, go find 100 people and just do your story over and over. This one says, hold on and make sure you're dancing on a mountaintop before you want to, go out and reach to somebody. And when you first started, I know you said that you were a little apprehensive about at first, you were like, I'm not in this for the business. But what was that shift, and how did you say, okay, this is how I'm going to start it? Or
I was trying to stay alive. I was $1 million in debt. Mm-hmm. And I love my family, and I wanted to pay off my debt, and I wanted to live, and I wanted to fly first class because I didn't know how long I was going to be here, and I wanted to experience everything life had to offer. The shift for me came out of the horrible challenge.
So did you find yourself feeling anxious and nervous? I've got to talk to 100 people because I've got to pay these bills? Or were you just like,
well, what you have to first, I was a hot mess to answer your question. I was a hot mess. And what you have to ask yourself is, what resonates with me? What do I want to try? You're constantly going to be changing the set of the sale. If dancing sounds great, go do it. If 100 people sounds great, go do it. There's nothing that you ever have to do. It's only what you want to do. If you want to go fast, then you're going to decide how many people are you going to talk to learn. Every moment that you're exchanging conversation or connecting is a learning opportunity. Those that make the most mistakes, those that fail the most, earn the most and learn the most. I should say that, learn the most, earn the most. So I'm not going to tell you, you have to do this. I gave you my version because that's why I'm here today. There is no right way and there is no one way. The evaluation is it getting you closer to your goal or not? If you say to me, you know, I spin on my head and I do 3 backflips and everybody says yes, then you should get on a training and be like, let me show you what I do. Because if it's working, do it. If it's not working, change it. And the only way to know is to try. So it doesn't matter what somebody's telling you is the way. What matters is, do I want to give that a shot? Maybe I'm out of ideas. That sounds pretty good. That's it. You're free. You're not an employee. You decide. Your choices. Your workload. If you want to go fast and you're doing 1 conversation a week, well, then adjust your goal to match your actions. You're not going to go fast if you talk to 1 person a week. I always say put a box next to your bed, and in that box, write down on a piece of paper the amount of connections you had. See how many zeros you have in that box for that week. If you're putting 2 at the end of every day, that's not playing a lot of numbers. I'm like, use me up. Schedule me for 50 phone calls in a day. I dare you. Nobody's done it yet. I'll do it. If I had somebody that said, hey, I never even had somebody that was like, schedule 50 calls a day, I'd be like, what? Be careful what you ask for. You're about to get 100, because that's my attitude. A little bit of an overachiever. Does that help?
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Which is exactly why where you are today is where you are.
Well, we all decide.
It's a numbers game, right, Ellen? You always tell me it's a numbers game, Phyllis. It's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game. There was another question somebody had down below.
It was, I think it was Jenny. Hold on. Yep. Let me unmute you. Okay.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi. Thank you guys so much. I love the energy of this call and everybody's share. Ellen, I want to schedule some private time with you because I'm making my list and I'm ready.
Oh, honey, I'll give you a call from the car on the way to yoga. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
See priorities, guys? See priorities? People in my life know when they're a priority because I'm like, yesterday it's happening, not today. Everything yesterday. Fast, fast, fast. There's slow, there's fast, and there's me. But I always say, if you can't keep up, that's cool. There's other coaches. I like to go fast. I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Me too.
So we're going to do it. And we're going to offer you guys a whole lot. As Jenny Teams grows, we're going to have to do a lot of Zooms with Brigitte and all these people that are growing. So we'll invite all you guys to ride along.
You're going to have to invite us because we are growing.
Always. And if you guys don't have my newsletter, make sure you guys have it because I'll always have in there what's coming up.
Can you tell us how to get that, Ellen?
Mm-hmm.
You just forward it to them and they opt in. You get it?
I do get it, and I'll find it, and I'll have them opt in.
Go to the bottom and opt in, and all my communication is through that chain. And it's several thousand people, and whoever wants to get on can get on. It's company-wide. And the only thing that's really team-specific is just the ranks.
Right.
Everything else is kind of for everybody.
Right.
So just scroll through that one box, and that's it.
Right. Ellen, I'm saying goodnight. Anyone else have a
It's fun to see you guys all the way in Atlanta.
Thank you for the training. You know that as soon as I hang this up, I'll be saying when's your next schedule that you have for me, because I am a growing leader. I am learning as I fail, and it's happening every day, and that's okay because I'm standing right back up.
And all of you are so lucky to be led by this big-hearted, amazing, brilliant, gorgeous woman. I mean that. I love you so much. So everything you've said to me tenfold back to you. And my love, if you can send me the recording, I'll drop that in my newsletter so those people that didn't have it can access it. There you go.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone who can join, and thank you, everyone who is listening on the recording. And Ellen, I learn from you every day, even when I don't talk to you. Thank you. And love to Paul, please.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.